Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. So in furtherance to the previous video that I did covering the need for doing Apep and Fafnir runs more frequently rather than doing a Chronos. Yes, I am only saying that pertaining to both the mid-game or the end-game players right now. If you're an early game player and you still need those speed, you still need those stats for clearing your generic content, then yes, doing Chronos is actually a lot better for you, especially since doing Apep and Fafnir kind of requires Chronos equipment anyway. So if you're still not at a stage where you can farm Apep and Fafnir, then farming Chronos is probably going to be the better way for you right now. Now with that said, I have two different team comps. One is like a more free-to-play comp. This is going to be the free-to-play, sort of free-to-play. I mean, I'm using Ashley here. It's sort of free-to-play. We will also be using a different team comp later on, which is a little bit more pay-to-win. But both will have Daylon in the team comp as well. And if you're wondering why Daylon is being used over here, you will understand along the way. Now, let's take a look at all of our equipment, starting with Ashley. Here are her stats. You just need her to be at R0. You don't need her to be at R2 or anything like that. It's completely not a necessity at all. In the way you want to build Daylon, I skipped him a little bit too quickly. It's just to give him a DPS set, very typical DPS set. He has pretty good base attack anyway, so he's gonna do good DPS for us. And now Clara, here are her stats. You kind of want her to just be fast. You do not need her to be on the Ocean set, but the Ocean still works regardless. Now Drew, just a typical DPS set, and I have actually kind of like aligned all of these aspects according to their speed. Except for Clara, of course. Okay, so something like this is going to be the specific speed requirement, and as you can see, both Ashley and Daylon, they have the same speed. The reason for that is because I can swap them around like this, and whoever's in front will actually take the first turn. But of course, in this case, I kind of need Ashley for her attack lead, so she is going to take the first turn. It's not going to matter all that much for this run, but it's going to matter a little bit more for the more pay-to-win run later on. Okay, so I'm going to change the way I'm going to do all of these videos. So I'm actually going to blitz this 10 times. Just take a look at the win rate. From what I understand thus far, what I've experienced, it is pretty decent. I've only lost once so far, which means my win rate is probably not at 100%. But as you can see, the turn count is actually not bad. And we're actually going to take a look at one of the faster. Okay, see that? We have a 67 turns over there. So it can go really south very fast, depending on how lucky you are. But as you can see, most of our runs are pretty decent at around 20 plus turns, and it's not really eating too much into our memo chip count right now. Okay, so it seems like the fastest run that we have is battle number 3. Let's take a look at how this works. So the first couple of waves, they're going to go down pretty fast. So as you can see, we have Ashley with the AoE at the start, and then Daylon comes in with the AoE as well, and done. That's the first wave done. Second wave, we are going to reduce the HP of the mid boss because of his typing, right? And something like that. And now Drew's just gonna cleave everything. So this always happens. This always happens. And now at the boss fight, this is where things... It's just more of like throwing out a lot of DPS, and we need Clara here for the immunity, so that at the start we don't get the poison debuffs, because that could kill us when the boss counter attacks. So I know my Clara is at R2, that's why we have 2 turns of immunity, but regardless of that or not, this is still gonna happen, right? We are not gonna die because we have at least 1 turn of immunity, and that's the most important thing. And the thing is, some of my experts here already have the light set, which gives them the necessary immunity at the start. So we don't even need Clara for this team. But the thing is, for most of you players out there who do not have access to your light set just yet, I think the Clara is still going to be quite essential and quite important. But of course, if you have it at R2, your runs are just going to be a lot safer. Now, this is the slightly... I say slightly, but it is a lot more pay to win. So we have Brewster here, who is minimally going to be at R2. It's very important that he is at R2, because he's going to start off with his reload attack stacks at the start, which is very, very important in letting the defense breaks for basically free, because he's not going to take a turn. So we are always going to have defense break on a lot of our attacks. So Brewster, the way you want to build him is just completely no speed. It's not essential. It's not even important with the least speed, but you need a little bit of crit rate just for the mid boss phase, where he will need to crit some of the other ads, which is one of the 2 minions beside the mid boss who are Inferno type. So just give him a lot of attack power, give him a lot of crit damage, that's about it. Give him some decent accuracy as well, because you're going to be using him in many different content anyway. And of course, Daylon, Ashley, they all have the same stats over here, but in case you skip the first part of this video, which is the more free-to-play team, yeah, so there you go. Here are their stats, and let's take a look at this run, and we're going to blitz this as usual. Now, in terms of win rate, it is definitely not 100%, but it is actually quite high. It's like at least 95%. It's very, very safe. And as you can see, turn counters super freaking low. Okay, except for this one. But for the most part, we are actually able to achieve certain like 10 turn runs, and it's unfortunate that we're not seeing any of it right now. Okay, so we got an average of 14 turns, which is not what I'm looking for, so I'm actually going to blitz this again, and that's all our refills for the day. Okay, RIP, we got a loss. Okay, so we finally got a loss here. So this team comp does indeed lose every once in a while. It's not super common, but it's something to take note of. And the reason why I think we lose once in a while is because we fail the defense break, which is very rare, but it does happen at times. So now we're getting all the 11 turns, right? I'm looking for the 10-turn run. Okay, one last 10 blitz. Completely no 10 turns, what? Okay, since we cannot find any 10-turn runs this time around, which is very, very unfortunate, I did it so many times before this video, we're actually going to take a look at one of the 11-turn runs, and it's going to be the same. It's going to be very similar, but it's just not as nice, I guess. Okay, so now we need the Daylon to go first. Right, Daylon goes first and then Ashley. It's quite important because of this fight over here. We need to make sure that Daylon focuses on the mid-boss. We need him to focus on the mid-boss at least. But the thing is, if Ashley attacks, there's a chance that she will lower the HP of one of the two followers if she don't miss. And as such, Daylon will actually hit the follower instead of the mid-boss, which is not what we want. So this is completely countered down to the meter over here. So as you can see, the boss has 1 turn left, and the boss is going to counter-attack. And that's going to wake Stewart up, and Stewart's just going to counter-attack afterwards. And we are just 1 hit away. That's it. So the way that we can get a 10-turn run is if the left follower does not take a turn. And that only happens if you are able to AP reduce it very consistently with both Daylon and Ashley. So both Daylon and Ashley have... Okay, so if you take a look at Daylon's third skill, right? This actually reduces the target's AP as well. Wait, what? Okay, sorry, my bad. I thought Daylon had an AP reduction on his kit, but it's actually coming from Ashley. So Daylon, when he uses third skill, he needs to reduce the AP of both followers on the left and the right. Same goes for Ashley when she uses AoE. She needs to reduce the AP of both the follower on the left and the right so that they don't take a turn, so that they don't steal the turn. So as you can see here, my record is 10 turns with this team, and that's generally how it's supposed to work. I just need to have 2 AP reductions, and it's supposed to work all the time. So there you go, these are the 2 teams right now that you can use Daylon in. So he's not essentially useless, he is still a little bit useful in Apep, especially when you do like a little bit faster runs. He's gonna be pretty decent just because he has AoE on his third skill, and he also has a single target defense break and it's mostly just a defense break over here. So I think what I want to highlight is that even though certain Espers, they seem like, okay, they are not as good as X Esper. Like for example, Daylon is not as good as Yuhime, right? Because Yuhime also has a disease. She also carries good DPS as opposed to what Daylon can bring. So she seems like 1 step above Daylon, isn't it? But the truth is, that is not true all the time because there are minuscule differences between all of these Espers. So Yuhime, she double hits on her third skill. And by using Yuhime in this team, we are actually not going to be able to abuse Stewart's wake up counter attack. And the reason is very simple. We are just going to attack too many times with Yuhime, 1 extra hit, and that is going to screw up our run entirely. So in the future, where they release new Espers who cover slightly similar but a little bit different grounds, they are both still going to be viable if you use them in the right team. So in this case, Daylon is being used in the right team, and you're able to get 10-turn runs over here. But for the most part, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.